What's one word to describe your year?
Awesome.
Oh.
Growth.
Splendid.
An adventure.
Man, I was very excited to do this podcast. That answer just went so many different directions. No, not get into that. But let's get into it.
What kind of word is in adventure?
Okay. I realized that after I answered.
Wait, I'm serious.
An adventure is the word.
Oh, an adventure.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Growth, like physically, or no?
Just like, added a few pounds.
First shot fired.
This
I'm sorry,
intro
that
is
was
going to
so
be rough.
rude. That was so rude on my
That was
part.
Shimmer, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry.
He is.
I like how we talked about
has
how
no respect for women.
I know we
Who?
actually talked about how he like defends Amber.
And then
First
as
one
soon
is-
as the podcast came on, he just went savage mode. It's okay, though, because he's been around me for 2 days and being pretty nice.
Yeah.
So, you're forgiven.
Amber, I actually really liked your answer. Growth is a great.
No, you didn't.
No, I did. I swear.
Smiling, the
I know.
smile.
I swear. What?
Okay.
I'm serious. It was a good answer.
What'd you say,
Okay.
splendid?
Yeah, but it was like I don't like.
Like
okay.
Splenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just thinking of a word, but I like
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah,
I would
Splendid-
tweet
Splendid
that.
doesn't
What did you
match
say,
your-
Shimmer?
I just said awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's such a like a. What are you, a kid? What are you, 2?
What splendid?
You said
what are you
splendid,
like?
too,
60?
so you can't get
Are
at
you
him
60?
Being 60 is better than being 12.
Nah, dude.
What? No.
Oh,
He's like,
fuck.
awesome.
no.
It was so like that's something that like when you come back to school and your teacher's like, "How's everybody's summer?" That's like something.
It was awesome.
He raises his hand. It was awesome, and she's just like, "All right, like."
And
Tommy,
then
get out of
if
my
the kid
class.
says splendid, he's like,
She's like, "Ooh."
no.
Nice vocabulary.
Nice vocabulary. Yeah,
I like that.
You're
I'll see
kissing
you
the,
after
you're kissing the
class.
teacher's butt at that point.
Why are you
Teacher's
teaching
pet.
kissing the teacher after class? This doesn't seem right.
What
Oh
the
my
heck?
god.
All right,
This
guys.
doesn't seem
Anyways,
right.
thank you guys for tuning in to an episode of Strange Flavors. My name is Shimmer,
I'm FARAS,
My name is Amber.
and today we have a special guest
co-host.
co-host.
Back. She gonna say your name?
Tokyo Tav.
Oh,
Tokyo.
man.
Is that what you went by when you used to do this?
No,
Typical
I actually,
Tav.
I
Oh, he
changed,
did. No,
Brandon.
no.
I
It
changed my
was
name like 3
mid-
times.
in the middle
Oh
of
yeah.
it, he
Wait, what did you
switched.
start with?
It was like
Typical.
it was B Tav and then it was typical Tav.
Typical Tav was like
That was
typical,
terrible.
like a Dr. Seuss book.
Wait, where does the Tav
But-
come from? Your name's Brandon.
My
His
last
name.
His last name's Tavernier.
Tavernier.
Oh,
And he
okay,
used to be
okay.
an old co-host, so he's back.
Yes, yes.
He's back here.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Refreshing.
Brandon has actually been helping out a lot with like
Behind the
behind the
scenes.
scenes Alif Theory stuff. So it's nice having him here.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Brandon. I
we're
like
alive.
when you're not making fun of me.
All right, we're gonna start off with some sad news. Did you guys see the Aladdin Entertainment Weekly magazine?
I like how you said it's sad news.
Oh. Yeah, why are you guys mad about that?
Dude, first of all, Will Smith looks like a goof, but he's not blue. If he
A
was blue, like
These words today. I thought he looked cool.
Nah, he didn't look cool. And neither. I mean, the other two, like they just.
Jasmine was
Look,
okay. Jasmine,
It's okay, yeah.
Aladdin was like, bro.
I think if you look at the array of like, South Asian and Middle Eastern cultures and all the people that it could have been, and then you see like this cover, it's like that's what we came up with. Like
Yeah.
this was supposed to be our moment, you know? Like Crazy Rich Asians, it was like, all right, finally, like Chinese people and Singapore and whoever else was in that movie, like they have their moment, and then we're like, oh my god, Aladdin, and then it's like,
Eh.
So
Yeah.
Did you guys see my
didn't like the-
recover?
Oh
yeah,
my
I saw.
God.
Oh
it.
yeah, that
Come
was
on.
good.
That
was
was
good. That was
good.
better.
Just Rain as
That was
as
good.
the genie.
Yeah.
I threw myself in there because it's always my dream. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Will Smith
Honestly,
said,
you look like a better Aladdin on the cover.
"True."
you hear that? Disney.
Disney. Will
That's
Smith
what-
said
on
he
the
was gonna
cover.
be blue, so who knows?
Wait,
I don't know what that means.
Then
so.
why wasn't he blue on the
I
cover?
have no idea.
So
but he said he
you,
was
you
gonna be
didn't
blue.
like the cover or the actors besides?
Well, I don't know yet. I'm gonna
Yeah.
like be hopeful, but it's just like looking at the cover, it doesn't look like, oh my god, Aladdin. It looks like
Yeah.
a play that's
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
You know.
I think Will Smith will be good, but
Mhm.
it's just gonna be weird. It's gonna be different.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
I hope
Speaking,
it has spice, basically.
it will. It will have a lot of spice. And speaking of spice, Priyanka and Jonas. I've been having
Genius.
Jonas, Nick Jonas. Don't get it twisted.
Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
They got married for like 4 months now.
Yeah.
for a
Yeah,
long
their
months.
celebrations
They
are not
have so-
ending.
They have so many cute pictures that they're posting on the daily, and I'm dying.
Brandon, do you know how weird this is for us? Priyanka Chopra and Jonas. Do you even know who these two are?
I've seen her. And I know Nick Jonas.
Right.
Why is it weird? Because he's white?
No, so these are like 2 separate universes from our childhood.
Yeah.
Like she's from Bollywood and he's from Disney Channel.
Yeah,
But like
the Anna
heavily
Jonas
Heavily.
involved in,
films.
in our childhood.
Yeah, heavily involved. Both of them.
Not really.
2
How not?
But
You didn't
How
like.
not?
Like
What-
Priyanka's like when you say childhood, it's not like Priyanka Chopra was
You
like
didn't
playing.
grow up knowing Priyanka Chopra
No,
as
I
a
did,
household
but-
name.
Dude, she was
Yeah, but
childhood.
she's
She was
not
like
like
bae.
child.
She was like
She's like
Big.
big.
I
you
know,
know?
but she's not
Bae
like a
and big.
childhood like
But she like growing up, she was
like
a
Jonas
household
Brothers.
name.
That was like a childhood thing. But,
Right. I
okay.
mean, she's
All right, go
also
on.
10 years older than us. So.
What was the point of this? What were you gonna bring up?
what?
This is crazy.
Yeah, it's
Oh, you're
crazy.
just saying this crazy?
Yeah.
I think they're a good.
Whoa.
Fit. They look together. To
No,
me.
I think that's a great point. I love them. And then you keep posting pictures. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you for attending my TED Talk.
All right. And speaking of weird relationships, Cardi B and Offset.
I have opinions.
The Cardi Nicki news of the week.
Okay, we're doing this early this week, guys. All right, let's just tune in. All right, a little bit of a backstory. Offset like openly cheat. He didn't openly cheat, but it came out in the public that he cheated on Cardi B. So she put out a video saying that they're not together anymore. And then this man goes on stage at her concert and literally goes like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Cardi," in front of everybody, almost bullying her to take him back. And all these rappers come
I thought
out.
it was kind of sweet.
No, it
It was like
wasn't.
ghetto sweet.
But on stage,
No.
that's a private thing.
That's a private thing. And then on top
But
of
he
that,
brought out like those like things that said like what did it say?
it says, "I'm sorry, Cardi B."
That's sweet.
No, it's sweet because one, she posted a video on her Instagram the day before saying, "Oh, look at these nice flowers that I got," and he just literally went and copied the flower that she put on her Instagram. Two, when you do something that publicly and then you have all these rappers coming out of nowhere like, "Yeah, Cardi, take him back," like you're trying to like add to the cycle of, okay, women taking back these guys that are cheating on them, and it's like more okay, like, "Oh no, it's fine, he cheated on you, but it's fine."
Also, it's a lot of pressure. Like, obviously, she's gonna have a good reaction.
Oh,
quote
like
unquote.
he's
Her reaction didn't look like she was happy though. She was like
She
talking to him.
wasn't.
She's like, "What are you doing?"
like, as the public is going to be like, "That's your child's father, you guys are married, blah blah blah," but it's like that's something that she needs to
I'm
decide,
looking at it from an
and he
entertainment point
needs
of
to
view.
plead.
I'm just like, yo, this is entertaining.
I know, but it's wrong, and it's like it's not.
But they're both like.
You
like,
said
we're
it
talking
yourself.
about-
She
we're
didn't
talking
look
about
happy.
Offset and Cardi B.
But you said it yourself. She didn't look happy. Like that's not. That's for her to make a decision, not for the public to bully her to get back into.
Right. But
You know?
again, we don't know their private lives. So from us looking at it from an entertainment point of view, it's like lit.
Or we could see how she's reacting to it, and she didn't like it very much either.
Well, one,
True.
he interrupted her performance, so
It's rude. It's
That's
rude.
the worst
he
thing.
sabotaged her. But
It's
honestly,
rude.
celebrity relationships.
I just didn't take it seriously. That's why I'm saying it that way. I know it's like
They're annoying.
weird. Like
But then, don't you feel like it adds to a cycle? Like, there's all these rappers tweeting at Cardi B saying, like, "Oh yeah, take her back, take him back, take him back."
it seemed like a show. Like it looked like the way that he brought out like "Take Me Back" type thing. What is that?
and he was like,
Publicly-
take me back, bruh. Like, literally,
Take
that's
me
your
back,
your child's mother, bruh. Like, that's the best you could
That's
come
what
up
I'm
with,
saying. It seems like a show.
He's hood.
Okay.
bruh.
He's getting attention. Anyways, Kylie Jenner ties Jay-Z on Forbes' wealthiest celebrities in America list, and there was a tweet.
Yeah, this was a popular tweet on Twitter that somebody was like, the difference between black and white wealth. Black wealth has to be accumulated. White wealth is inherited. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. How do you guys feel about that when it comes to Kylie Jenner and Jay-Z? Now, Jay-Z did come from apparently, selling crack and
Yeah.
working his way up
He
to
stabbed somebody.
finally like being a huge mogul of rap, hip hop, even just on
Other
the billionaires
businesses,
list,
yeah.
businesses. Like he has a lot going for him, right? And he came from really nothing. Okay, Kylie
Yeah.
Jenner, she came from the Kardashian family, but then she did start her own like lip kit and
Which was
all that stuff.
completely, her own thing.
But had she started that without the Kardashian thing,
She would, yeah.
there would be probably
wouldn't
no
be- it wouldn't be
success
as
to it, right?
poppin',
There would be
right.
no name.
I
to it.
think this tweet would have been okay if it was just them two, but I think a lot of white people have gotten wealth from nothing, such as Bill Gates and a bunch of other
It's very
Um,
specific to
yeah.
this, like these two people. So like if we're talking about it as an overall issue, we can't look at it that way. But if we're looking at it just generally, if we're comparing these two individuals and that's it, then yeah, that's the way that we can look at it. But
yeah. But I also don't know personally of any African Americans that have gotten their wealth through inheritance.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think that we're that far in history
Yes.
yet.
That's fair. But also it's just like, I don't know if it really, you have to relate those things.
the two of those together.
Yeah, I mean it's a good conversation point, but like to pin them against each other for no reason, like I don't think that Kylie is saying that, you know, I came from nothing, I did this and that. Like I think white privilege plays into effect regardless.
Right.
But I don't know, like I think that you can celebrate two different things, and I don't know how women who are super active in, you know, the march and the feminism movement and all that kind of stuff, how they feel about Kylie being a billionaire, if they think that it's a cool power move or if it's...
I mean, if you look at it, there's 6 of them. And Kylie's...
Kardashians?
Yeah, there's 6 or 7 of
and
them.
she's richer than Kim.
She's richer than Kim.
Yeah.
And so that's not saying like, oh yeah, she just like kind of sat back or whatever. Like, this girl had to like actually build the business. Every holiday she'll come out with a new thing. And I'm not saying there's not people behind her. I'm sure there's a whole team behind it that keeps it going. But the fact is she didn't just sit on it. She didn't just sit on it and just made money. She like took her like celebrity self and like made it into something more. And that's something to appreciate.
It sounds cool when you like describe her story the way that her story is. But to throw Jay-Z in there, then it's like it kind of really takes away everything. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's fair.
Yeah. Also, to go on that note, Eminem, he's started from nothing.
Yeah, but I think that Eminem also had a lot of
white privilege. Yeah, definitely.
And is the reason that he got
but like
as successful.
His wasn't inherited.
When you already have the image from the get-go, I don't think there's really much work you have to put into it. So that's why. And
what do you mean image from the get-go?
With being a Kardashian.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I mean, Kim's in the like she's been
but
doing.
My point is, I don't think that's being argued. You know, like I don't think Kylie's saying like that I came from selling crack.
Mm-hmm. She didn't say anything because she doesn't say anything.
But she's just doing her thing.
Yeah, she's just doing her thing.
So like, is it wrong for her to just do her thing?
So for people to pin them up against each other, and even I don't know, like
because they have their success individually.
Because Complex said Kylie Jenner ties Jay-Z on Forbes' wealthiest celebrities in America list,
which could be accurate, but
it's accurate. But I don't know. I guess like that's just not an article that interests me in the first place. Like, how do those two things relate? Yeah. They're completely separate, and like Jay-Z.
They're just saying that.
Well, just saying who's the wealthiest.
She's just saying that.
That they tied.
Jay-Z.
They tied.
Yeah,
but it's like it's still not like Jay-Z worked a way longer time to get to this point.
But that doesn't mean anything.
They have they have two completely different paths to their successes, and they're both very, very like highly valued. So when you do it like this, you're belittling it in a way.
I just don't think that there's a comparison that should be really made there. It doesn't make sense. Jay-Z is like Jay-Z. Yeah. He's great.
But a good talking
and
point,
Kylie,
like you said.
You know, Kylie, great job. Like she did her thing too. So
great job, her team behind the scenes.
on racial
doing all the work.
On a racial note, there was an athlete who was forced to cut his dreadlocks or forfeit before a wrestling match.
Why?
Yeah, there was like apparently this referee who has history of being racist. Did you guys see this Twitter video?
Yeah.
So like this kid is getting his dreads cut off, and SHAH-AMEER, like you and I both wrestled in high school, and we know that. Have you seen kids with long hair?
Yeah, a bunch.
So I know I had a kid on my team that had dreads, an African American kid. He didn't have to wear a cap. Usually you have to wear a cap when you have long hair.
Yeah, you put a cap.
You wear it in a bun, and then you put it like a skull cap on top. So girls can wrestle too. Like
girls.
It's not a weird thing to have long hair. It's not like you can't have long hair and not wrestle. So this kid had dreads, and the referee said, unless you cut them, you're forfeiting the match. And what ended up happening is he ended up getting them cut. He looked super devastated, and his team is like high-fiving him like, oh, you're taking one for the team. And then he ends up winning the match. And his reaction after the match was like so just... It kind of like made me really angry just watching. He looked so upset, and then the referee just kind of like dangles his hand up, and he like didn't feel good about it. You know, he won the match, but he didn't feel good about it.
Right,
you could see it, and it's just like that's crazy that still happens. You know,
Even in a small scale like that, it just means so much. Yeah. And I'm glad that this article like blew up.
Yeah, like, I saw it on CNN this morning too, and they were discussing.
Did the referee explain what his reasoning was?
So they're looking into it. They're in the investigating stage right now.
The guy who made the video, he was just saying there was a lot that wasn't in. Like the coaches were trying to argue against that and all that stuff. Like people were actually like fighting against it.
I think that's wrong. I mean, like unless you're making girls cut off their hair too, like and
which doesn't. That's why I brought it up. Like we both have seen.
It's not a length problem. It's a racial problem.
Right.
Like that would never be an issue. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm curious to see like when they get this investigation done, what they even come up with.
Does it affect wrestling at all since you guys wrestled if you have long hair?
You're not supposed to grab long hair. Like,
right.
So that's why you put on the cap. And he could have just put on a cap.
Right.
And even when you have the cap on, there's headgear on top of that. So everything is nice and tight.
And compact. Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Anyways, a lot of celebrities are talking about social anxiety.
Khaled and Liza Koshy being some of them. Recently, in like the last few weeks, I've seen a lot of celebrities online open up about social anxiety and just anxiety in general. I don't know if you guys noticed, Liza Koshy has taken a 10-month break off of YouTube. Yeah.
She hasn't put up a video for that long.
She's put up one for voting, and that's about it. She's collabed with other YouTubers.
And that's why? Because social anxiety?
She's saying that it's a lot about confidence, and that after she did Lies on Demand and all that type of stuff, she says, I have videos, I've recorded them, I'm ready to post them, but I just can't.
She was doing her show, right? That's why she
No, it's done.
Those.
No, the show's been done and everything's been done.
Okay.
She just says that she's like, as much as it may not make sense to anybody, it's just a confidence thing right now, and I'm getting to that place to post again. And so she's still being an active part of like society, of like, you know, young people's like lives by doing this whole thing about talking about social anxiety, talking about voting. She's acting like as a public figure right now, but she hasn't put out any content.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that all these young kids are going through?
I think that we did in this past year go through a toxic time on social media. I think that I think a lot of people had a hard time like swallowing what it means to be in such a public, but like even in the comfort of your own home, you're never away from it. Like before, if you felt social anxiety or whatever, or if you had anxiety, you could like be an introvert and stay in and be able to take a rest from it. But now when you're such a public figure,
and that's where your money's coming from,
and you're reliant upon being in front of so many people and so many people's opinions flying towards your way on a daily basis, no matter what you say, then it's a big deal. One of the things that she brought up recently was how she remember when she did what was it, the Met Gala? She like interviewed a bunch of celebrities on the carpet, and she's like, I haven't even had a scandal, but I got torn apart for that, and it just like killed me.
Why?
Like, because of her dress,
her?
the way that her dress was,
or what she was
the way
asking.
she was saying, how she was acting, all like, you know, like herself. But there's all these other audience.
Yeah, the older people were like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you acting like that?
And
why are you acting so goofy?
Like flirtatious? Or
no, goofy.
Like
and
how
like,
she's
not being serious. Was she there with Vogue?
Yeah, I think so.
And
okay, so maybe they're like, oh, you're not like, you know, living up to Vogue's name.
No, it's people like her audience, her YouTube audience, that 10 million people or whatever. Yeah. They all know who Liza Koshy is, and they love it. So she's comfortable with being that personality. Okay. When they brought her in to do that in front of all these other people who are not her audience and are like, who's this girl out the blue acting all like crazy and whatever.
And even the celebrities loved it too. The celebrities were enjoying it.
Yeah, so I just think it's like, I think that in 2018 there was a lot of celebrities who came out about, you know, just dealing with anxiety in general and how social media has been a toxic place. So I hope that everybody is able to find a way that they can cope with it and do things that still keep them healthy mentally.
I think that term like social influencer, I heard that a lot in 2018. And I think that that's like, that almost becomes a responsibility for a lot of people. Like, yo, I'm responsible for influencing so many kids. We just met one of them in New York recently. And I was just like trying to talk to her the whole time about like trying to understand what that means, because she doesn't like sing or, you know, act, doesn't make YouTube videos. She's just on Instagram, and like she calls herself the title social influencer. And I'm like, what do you like? I'm trying to get behind what that means. And she's like, I go to parties, you know, they invite me out and I hang out with them, and you know, I wear their brands and products and stuff. I'm like, okay.
So like kind of like a model.
What are you influencing? It's hard. And then when you get given that title, yeah, I guess it depends on your person, like how you take that, what you really
She's
make
a product.
It's like
I know it kind of feels like that, right?
You're
like,
an object.
Weird. I don't want to say that, but like, because people are very serious about that title, but it almost feels like they're, you know, a product or an advertisement, walking advertisement.
Yeah. Or wearing products and advertising them, so you're never like actually being yourself. You're being this person to the, you know, to social media.
Definitely. Anyways, we have a dope guest coming on.
Yes. Today on the show, we're going to have Julie, who is an aspiring model. And also she is a little bit of a hip hop head. You'll see her at any concert or festival that, you know, is is around the area or not in the area, she'll fly out to it too. But she's really cool, and we want to kind of break down what it means and what the process is of actually becoming like a real life model in this day and age. So everybody, please give a warm welcome to Julie. We got the Kashmiri chai going.
Yeah.
We got Julie in the building, aka Family Jules.
Julie P.
How do you say your last name?
What's good?
Podczaski.
Oh, snap.
Okay, I thought it was a
guessed that.
podcast. Like
Podczaski.
Yeah, a lot of people think that, you know, but
say it
one
again.
more time.
Podczaski.
Podczaski.
So it's like, just think P.
It's Polish, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
CZ goes ch, and then ski. Like Podczaski.
Yeah. Why we're saying that is because it's spelled Podczaski. So it's like a long, like one of those types of names.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Do you have any interaction with the Polish side of you?
A little bit, but not that much.
Have you ever been to Poland?
No. I want to, though. Yeah.
Damn.
Does your family ever like talk about it? Like, what's
No, because I think it was my great grandparents.
Okay.
So it's kind of died off. Like they didn't keep traditions or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few things like and actually I was watching a video the other day of my aunt's wedding from like the 70s, and there's a thing where you like wear a necklace that has like baby dolls around it.
Whoa.
And it's supposed to be like promoting fertility and stuff, and I was like,
Oh.
I never knew that, and that's kind of strange.
Like Barbie dolls?
Yeah, like
baby dolls.
baby dolls.
Are you gonna throw that on?
Probably
You're
not.
gonna-
Probably not. No.
Baby dolls. Yeah, people would be mad confused. If
Yeah.
they saw that. But
Yeah.
that sounds cool. Like,
It's a cool tradition.
I know,
Polish
like
wedding?
one phrase that I still say is "Ika duma spash."
What's
What is
that?
That's
Sit down and be quiet.
Ika do
Ika do
much
spash.
It might be a little off, so if
Ika
someone
duma
is
spash.
watching this from Poland or something,
Okay,
Ika do much spash.
actually, we have a good demographic from Poland. It's
Really?
weird. Ever since
Really?
I started being on YouTube, I remember always having like a distinct Polish,
Frosty.
like literally. It's so weird, but like even
Yeah.
on our like super cultural videos, Poland. So
what's up, Poland?
thank you to Polish fam.
Polish fan.
So Julie, we had you on the podcast today to talk to us, enlighten us a little bit about the modeling world. How did you even get into modeling? Like, I know you
What
probably get this
inspired
all the
you?
time. I remember being in school with you,
Right.
and I would hear all the time like, "Oh my god, like you should totally model and stuff."
That's
like,
funny
is
that
it-
you remember that. Like,
you,
that
but you definitely got that
yeah.
all growing up, didn't you?
Yeah, like, well, not until I was probably like out of getting into college, like senior year of high school
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, people started saying it to me a lot, and I like when I was young.
You were like, "Fine."
Like when I was young, I had like the thought, but you know, it came and went, and with a lot of other thoughts. And then once I got a little older, I was like, you know, let me really try it. But like, even like when I knew you, but not till I went to Towson, which was like 2015. That's when I started to really try
Pursue it.
and learn, and you know, and I still want to do journalism though, and that's why I went to school and everything. But I was like, you know, now's my time, whatever. So I just started practicing, like taking pictures. I met my friend Trey, and he's not a photographer. Like he's just a creative guy. He is like he's an artist in terms of like music, but and he would really help me with my poses and just getting comfortable and stuff. And like that's when I started posting pictures on my Instagram, and I would use different hashtags that like agencies use to scout people off
Okay.
Instagram. And nothing really came of it, like, you know. So it took me like 3 years before I got signed. And
was that off of Instagram?
so I have a mother agent at first, and a mother agent.
Sounds scary.
People are like, "Is that your mom?" I'm like, "No, like it's not Kris Jenner, you know, momager."
Kris Jenner.
Yeah,
That would be
momager.
lit though.
Yeah,
I-
momager.
She could definitely make me some money, but
Money. Cardi.
I just watched that video. It's fire. But a mother agent is someone that basically sees your potential, kind of scouts you out, and wants to get you booked to an agency. But she doesn't actually book you work. And mine actually lives in Australia. And like, so I've never met her in person. And we met through Instagram because I saw her page and she was having like an open call, which is something that I was doing. I was like submitting my pictures online to all kinds of agencies. I was going to open calls. And when you go to these things, there's like hundreds of people, and you know, thousands of people apply to agencies like all the time. So like when she like wrote back to me, I like couldn't even believe it. I was like, bro, like, all right, now we're talking, like things, whoa. Things are, you know, this could be something. So I submitted pictures to her first, actually on Instagram, and like in her mess DMs. And then she was like, okay, now please go online, do the full submission. So I recruited another friend. I did that. Usually they want you to take like up against a white wall or something. Just, you know, like no makeup, straight on, up close, profile.
They want to see the potential in just like
your clean slate, you know? Yeah. Because that's really what you know, you're just being a statue for someone's vision, you know.
Were you trying to do it for something specific, like a, you know, type of clothing, or like were you just like model and then whatever brands want to?
So yeah, like I want to be high fashion, you know, and I know I'm not gonna be there I'm not there now, but that's how I see myself. Like I see myself being a supermodel one day. Like that's really what.
Wait, we were having a conversation about this earlier. Like, what's the difference between a model and a supermodel? Is it just supermodels like?
Supermodel's kind of like you can do everything. Like you're the epitome of model. Like you can, because some people
like
just,
America's next top model.
Well,
like,
that's another thing.
Yeah,
that's what a lot of. No. It's okay. That's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
But like America's Next Top Model is like one kind of skewed view, I think, of, and like what a lot of people, especially in America, like see models as. But that's like. It's a reality show, and it's. I mean, there are girls who.
So, like Victoria's Secret models would be more something that's a supermodel, or is that still again a specific market?
That's definitely like super skinny.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, but a lot of the ones that people consider supermodels now, even though there's a lot of debate, because the supermodel era was like the '90s, and that was like Naomi Campbell, like Cindy Crawford, like. All them people, Giselle, and Giselle I think was a little later, but so supermodel's just like you're like the epitome of model. Like you can do runway, commercial, print, you know, you embody everything it is, you know, and that's people now say like Kendall and Bella and Gigi, like they are supermodels, but like
but they are though, right?
They are,
because they do
why
everything.
Are you saying it like that?
They're more personalities too, right?
Yeah. And I mean that's a good thing though too, but a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them do come from like wealthy families that were already famous, and that is an advantage, of course. And like you know, so not to be I'm not a hater, like you can't help how you grow
Their
up.
personalities,
you know?
and then also became models.
Yeah, and but like if you really look at the skill of it, like some of them, like a lot of people, and I agree, like Kendall Jenner doesn't really have a good walk.
So if,
she's Kendall Jenner.
That's what Brandon was saying before we started. He was just like, "Did you see that video of Kendall walking?"
So like, if her name wasn't
really?
like, if she wasn't a Jenner or Kardashian Jenner, then she wouldn't be the highest paid model ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And two, that list to me is like, also like they're accounting for money she gets from being on the Kardashians and having Kendall and Kylie line and. You know,
they are. I thought this was just like money that she gets from modeling, like specifically. But then they are paying for her name too.
Yeah, I might have to check on that, but but
fact checker.
Yeah.
But with the I think that there are some like undertones that I hear about your sort of taste of, you know, that whole thing. But I think we'll get to that in more specifics later down. But like real quick, if I want to be a supermodel. Or not as a model, right? Today, what are some of the things that I have to go out and look for, and what's some important things to avoid?
I think that
like, can I just start posting stuff on IG, hashtag it, and like, how does it work?
Oh, well, that's what I did. I mean, that's how, because for one, like, you have to. Okay, so like I live in Baltimore, like you know, that's not a fashion market. So I had to research and figure out, okay, New York City, like if you want to be in the fashion industry and high fashion, like surely you can do local stuff and whatever. That's fine and dandy, but like that's different type of modeling too. But so I went online, there's a website, models.com, and that's kind of like the Billboard charts almost of like modeling. Like people, they vote on a model of the year, the readers vote on another one, like there's up and comers, whatever. So on there you can see every legitimate agency, and you can go on there, you can do a submission, or you can go to open calls, you know, but primarily they're going to be in New York, around New York. It's not, you know, you don't want to go to like Baltimore Fashion Week. Like, what is that? That's not a thing. I mean, it is a thing, actually.
It is?
It is. They have a Baltimore Fashion Week.
Do you go to that?
No.
Oh.
Like, that's not, and it's not to be like,
you're not too good for it.
No, I'm not
like,
better than anyone,
Yeah.
but that's not fashion. That's not
What
the
is
fashion industry, you know? It's like,
A niche.
Is it more like streetwear and like more Baltimore like culture fashion, or
yeah, I
Okay.
guess, you know, or like,
But so isn't that kind of like how? So you're saying like, okay, so New York versus Baltimore, like Baltimore is not fashion, but like, can't everybody defy like fashion in their own way? And if Baltimore is trying to do that in their own way, like, isn't that a good? I don't know. I'm seeing it as a good thing.
yeah, I mean, I think it's good that, you know, you can be anywhere in the world and make your own.
Yeah, like
thing,
what if you can't get to New York? Especially like we're close. We're only 3 hours away.
Right.
But what about somebody in Kentucky, for example?
Yeah.
Like, what if they try to do a Kentucky Fashion Week and then it's just like, nope, you have to be in New York.
I think you can do stuff like that to just get comfortable with the idea of it and practice. Like, you know, I still do local things but now I'm like, more, I don't know, like some things just aren't worth my time anymore, you know, because it's not gonna, my agents in New York don't care what I do here. That has, you know what I mean?
Okay.
That
so,
has
so
nothing.
they're not considering that as anything, like
Yeah.
the ones that
Is it
you're trying to appeal
the status
to.
of those things? Is that what it is? Like brands and stuff that you work with, or like why would they not consider it?
Like,
does it have to be a good picture, or does it have to like?
a lot of like, I'm sure there are great photographers here too, but like when you're like, and this is something I've kind of been realizing too, what I look at every day is not what everyone else looks at. Like my feeds and everything are catered to like, I'm looking at Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, big designer names like Tom Ford, models, photographers that are doing the fashion. Like when you see images like that and you see the quality of it, like then when you are approached by someone that's like local, just starting out, like they think you would look good in their portfolio, but like that really doesn't do anything for me. Like I could show you like.
So you need like the industry.
Stuff.
That's what you're trying to appeal to.
Yeah, there's a standard still. Like I believe people can do, you know, to a degree you can do whatever you want, but like also it's like everyone's not gonna be a professional athlete and play in the NBA. Everyone's not gonna be a Justin Bieber. So like there has to be some kind of standard. So
Okay.
that's where you go to really make it.
I see that.
And they say when you make, so I keep doing that.
She talks with her hands a lot. She keeps
I
knocking on the
do.
mic. Can you move it closer to her mouth? Actually.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. You're
But
good.
yeah, like New York.
Let me ask you this. I see a lot of like Instagram models now that I don't see on like, you know, Vogue or any
Right.
New York Fashion Week and stuff.
Yeah.
So what's like the difference? Brandon, what's that Instagram model's name with the big butt?
No, there's a lot of those.
Well, yeah, but like the super famous one.
All of the above.
Oh, he follows a lot of them. There's too many.
Do you
on
like
his
the
list.
Claremont twins? Do you know who they are?
Wait, aren't they little girls?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
They're 24.
There's this one specific one that I'm thinking of that like she's always on World Star and stuff. That's how I even like know her.
big butt. There's so many.
She's like,
so many.
huh?
She Puerto Rican?
I don't know.
What is she?
She has like light eyes and
Oh, Jennifer.
Amina Blue.
no. Who? No, I don't.
Was
I
it
don't know.
easy?
It's gonna be a lot.
If I heard her name,
if
I
we
would know.
keep
But
going.
anyways, okay. Let's while you're looking that up.
Yeah, I've seen these twins.
He's like, oh, this is my favorite research. Yeah, like what's the difference? Like, are they? Because they look like they're balling.
Well, right. And you can be balling and do that. You know what I mean? Like, but also, to me, like, they're more of like a trend. Like, in 10 years from now,
You think they'll be gone?
Yeah.
But I have a question. So, like, a lot of the Instagram models are like thicker, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, a lot of those people like wouldn't even be accepted that much by the fashion industry. So is it really like, you know, just a trend? Like maybe they're just finding a way to actually be like accepted by the modeling industry. Even it's kind of like the YouTube of like you know, entertainment. It's like you can't do it if you wanted to go for real because you don't apply to their standards, but you still want to do it in your own way.
Right. That's what I think it's people doing it in their own way, figuring out, which is great. Like I mean, my body is kind of more like an Instagram girl, you know, like I'm in between. So like they have straight size modeling, which is like Kendall, all them, whatever, and that's the sample size, which is like 0 or 2. Even 4 is iffy. I have a couple like friends that are models and they're size 4 and they can't book things because then they're too big. And then there's this gap, and I'm in the gap.
Oh my god! Because this conversation's making me so uncomfortable.
It is. It's
very uncomfortable. The last time I was a size 4 was like 5th grade.
Yeah, like
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, you know, and
not that there's any shade. It's just like that's what's cutting them off.
I might be a size 2.
It's just like that's the
Sign
cutoff.
me up.
Yeah. So that's like straight size. So then that's why they had like plus size, and then that's where curve came into play, and that's why I'm on the curve board. But on this curve board, I'm a smaller curve girl, and sizes 6 through 12 like don't get booked.
Yeah.
Like they just, and I'm a 6'8". Like, so I'm not even joking. All right. So at the beginning of the year, my agency, so I kind of like skipped a part before, but I got my mother agent. Okay. And then I was going to all these go-sees, they call it, where like she set up an appointment for me to go to the agencies in New York. And it took like 12 agencies before someone said yeah. And the reason they said no, they all said no first was because my top's small, my waist is small, and my hips are...
Summer Rae.
I just remembered that.
Do you want to know something funny? So one of my friends dated her.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
I know.
Do you know her?
Yeah.
He's so happy.
Well, she's also a YouTuber, huge YouTuber
Yeah.
too. So.
Yeah,
now she is, but she
but
started off
And
on
now she has a
Instagram.
fitness thing, you know? So it's cool that you can go do all that, you know? And that's, I mean, I want to branch out and do other things too.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off
No,
your
I
story.
know. I'm like all over the
I
place
just
too.
remembered
Why the agent said no is because
so like literally they would all say the same thing, because I'd go to New York, and then I'd come back and I'd wait for their answer through my mother agent, and they were like, yeah, you know, you have this look, you're great, whatever, but like your sizes, it's just not gonna work. And I'd be like, all right. And that's part of the reason why I kind of like got I mean, it's not a later start, it's when I started, but you know, because I knew that was going to happen. Like, that's how it is, because you can go do your own thing, and that's great, but the actual industry brands and everything, like, you have to be one or the other is how it feels. And so, my agent, when I got signed, she was like, you know, if we have to stuff you, we will. And at the time I was like, haha, like, whatever.
With food, right?
No, like to buy padding and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Oh, for
what part of your body?
To look
like
curvier.
to your thighs.
I wouldn't think there. I'm probably up here, but and my arms, but like
to make you a plus size model.
Yeah, like a lot of them do that.
Wow,
it's crazy. So they
would take a smaller person and then make them bigger and then call them plus size.
Yep.
I'm sorry. This whole conversation is really triggering for me. I'm sorry.
No, right, exactly. And at the beginning of the year, they were marketing me as a size 12. I don't wear 12. I've never worn 12 in my life. Like, and then I would go to castings, and it's like people request me, and then I show up, and like they're like, "Oh yeah, you wear 12." And I would at first I went along with it because that's what I thought they like wanted. But then I was like, I'd go in and I'd tell them, "No, I actually wear like a 6'8", like whatever." And but you know, you get looks from people who are actually those sizes and bigger, like, you know, because you're in here faking, like, you know, it's just, it's not right. I don't like it. They asked me to buy a padded bodysuit, and the thing was like $400, and I was like, no.
Wait, so on that topic, like, are you, when you go to New York and stuff, are you having to pay, like, for those trips yourself? And for all, so, like, besides that, like, what's the cost of all of this kind of stuff? Getting all your shots done, and I'm sure there's
so like I didn't know when I first started. So like it's called test shoots when you're just doing shoots to build your portfolio, and it can range and it varies by photographer. I've paid like $300, I think was my first one. I've paid $600 for one.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I've paid and that's what I'm saying, like it can go up to, I don't know, like maybe $1,500 at the most.
You know, all the equipment in this room like costs less than that.
Yeah, it's right. Like, and I didn't know that, like, going into it, but the pictures I have look like they could be in a magazine, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you're investing in yourself essentially. So, but yeah, and you're an independent contractor, like. You know,
right?
And I haven't I didn't book anything at all this year, but when I do,
Wait, so your mother agent doesn't do that? You have to do that?
do what?
The bookings.
That's why she's a mother agent. She just kind
Well,
of
so
puts you to an agency, right?
My mother agent doesn't book me or anything. My mother agent is kind of like a mentor almost. So she, like, right now I'm just signed in New York, but I could also sign in another market like London, and if she thought that would be good for me, then she would initiate that. And then
what's worse, London, New York, or New York?
Everyone said, New York is like the fashion capital of the world because even people from overseas come over, and that's where they come in the U.S. But London is like ahead of us. London with fashion trends and everything. Like, you know, like A$AP Rocky, like he's always wearing something crazy. Well, people think it's crazy, and then it catches on here. Yeah. You know, and he goes to London a lot. And I
have a question. So
yeah.
like, they're like, so either they want you to be like smaller, like between 2 or 4, or they want you to be 12 and higher.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the reason that they don't want any of the natural? Because you have like a more of a natural figure.
Yeah.
What do you think the reason is, just like personally, for why they wouldn't want a more natural figure? Or they want you to be like one or the other?
Those sizes that are in between sell. Like, brands never have to worry about those sizes. Like, so that's why they feel they don't need to market it. But now, you know, because I don't know if you guys have ever seen, I think it was a Dove ad, and like it had maybe 7 or 8 women or something, and they all weighed 150 pounds, but they were like all different heights. Yeah. And you see how different weight carries on heights and different bodies, so people want to see that reflected, you know. And and then too, like, I was reading about how when people are in design, like potential fashion designers, when they're in design school and everything, like, they're still making the sample size. Like, no one steps in and says, oh, you need to actually make, you know, size 12 dress for our school runway show. Like, it's always still the size 2 or whatever. But there are designers, like, there's a designer, Christian Siriano, he won Project Runway, and he's very much about, like, dressing all women, and he's considered, like, high fashion now, and he's one of the ones that will put curve girls in the runway shows. But at New York Fashion Week, a lot of them don't still. And,
with the like with the plus size models, and how you're saying like this designer specifically is targeting more towards like the I guess the minority in the modeling world.
Yeah.
With the curved girls and like more diversity in color, and what's the girl that has like the
Winnie
skin
Harlow?
condition? Yeah. So I feel like there's a wave of that happening. Do you feel like as a white woman you're unfavored at the time?
Or like not in the supermodel
and not being like plus size or
I don't know. I don't really
because you think that if somebody saw your face on a magazine, would they be like another like skinny white girl or something?
Maybe, yeah. I'm sure. You know, I'm sure people
like,
feel that way.
How do you deal with
like,
that? I don't know, or you don't see that.
I don't know. I feel like maybe I haven't.
You're just doing your thing.
I haven't experienced it.
Okay.
Or is that not a problem, like the supermodel industry? Like, they're still needing you?
No. I mean, I don't know.
Do you ever...
I'm trying to, like... sorry.
No, it's okay. Do you ever, like, critique yourself? Like, okay,
yeah,
I need to, like, get bigger or, like, get smaller or, you know, do this or do that? Or do you, like, fix
your diet or exercise?
I mean, I've always, like, regularly exercised and eat... I consider myself a clean, healthy eater most of the time.
Are you vegan?
No, I want to be, but I don't eat meat.
Why does that matter?
No, I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
I didn't know if like models are generally vegan or something.
I mean, they are. Like, I mean,
really?
Like, I mean, I think it's just like a trend generally, like in New York and LA, and that's kind of where it mainly is. So a lot of models then tend to eat vegan.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're saying about being healthy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, no, like my body, I've always had the same shape for since whatever, like early teenage years or whatever. I don't really fluctuate weight. I don't, and going back to the bodysuits and stuff, like I want to be accepted just as I am. Like I don't want to manipulate myself and appear bigger when there's all these bigger girls that want to get booked and stuff and whatever. So big butts.
I feel like that's a trend too, though.
But I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I have a big I meant to ask that too of you guys. I mean, I don't really.
Okay.
It's fine, yeah.
But for like a white girl, like yeah, I have a bigger butt, and people know that, and like I could easily, like, I've had people tell me, just go to Atlanta and like you'll make it there, and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna be that girl. Like that's not my niche.
Why? You could be great on Wild and Out.
I don't know. I say a lot of random things that come off funny, but like I don't know that I can actually sit there and like write jokes. But
oh no, the Wild and Out girls don't have to talk.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, actually, yeah. How do you feel about that? Well, so this is like Wild and Out girls are just like they bring what's it called, cards and different games, and they comment on them, and also like you've seen boxing or wrestling or MMA stuff where like the girls inside that are like holding the
they're just like meant to be like the hot attractive pieces in those types of environments.
Yeah, where do you draw the line when it comes to like the way that you are being? I remember perceived. At the beginning of this you were saying like you use the word product, I think, that where like models are kind of like a product. It was
like or a mannequin, or you're the
like a hanger, not like that, but like
a what?
Like you're kind of like what they're putting the stuff on, or like making them into the vision.
And like I've even, like I said, even without really booking anything yet, like doing test shoots, like I've had moments where I'm like, oh, like this is it.
Yeah,
like,
where do you like see yourself, and like how do you
draw lines?
Yeah, and like how do you explain it in your own terms of like what you do and why it works for you?
I really like the process behind, photo shoots, because it really is someone else's vision. And it's, you look at a picture and you don't understand all the things that went into it. Or, like, I have a couple pictures. There was one on the beach, and it was, like, black and white, and I'm like this, and I'm like long ways across, and my eyes are closed, and I'm like climbing a rock, and I'm like holding this position, and I actually said that to the photographer. I was like, let me do this real quick, like I think this will look good. And I'm like in this awkward position for a while, and he's you do slight maneuvers, and then but then you see the final product and you're like, wow, like that's cool. But like you're supposed to emit a mood, or so you're selling something, and I know that, like I know that's what I'm doing, but at the same time, like I always have viewed modeling as like a way to do other things in life, and like just get a platform, and like I know,
like for what,
just like I really want to help people.
People.
And like
no, but I think even like it's important to say that if you are just a model and you don't want to like pursue other things, it is kind of like you're like acting, you're being
you are like an actor. Like
so.
That's why I because I have some more risque pictures, but like you get into a zone. Like I'm not worried about like, I don't know, like like you're depicting something, so you're not worried about how someone will judge your character. Like it's me, but it's not me. Like, and that's what I tell people with my Instagram
imposing
too.
Something, whatever.
Like my Instagram is I'm not worried about what Billy from high school thinks of my Instagram. Like I'm posting this stuff because someone who might see it could book me, or like I've met a lot of people on Instagram that I would never have expected to talk to, like famous photographers and even like low-key celebs, like
how do you know when a photographer isn't creepy? You said you've taken risque pictures. Have you done nude shoots?
And
what's
Because
how
that
do
is an issue.
how do you get comfortable with that?
Like, you know, just looking at it more as like fine art, I guess.
Well, is that like, does it start off like uncomfortable? I could never imagine doing that. So I'm like,
Yeah, I
like, okay, take off your clothes. And it's like, oh, right now?
Yeah,
I don't
like-
know. How does it work?
like when I was like literally it was February and we were outside and like
Oh, it's cold.
it was cold, but
And this is a nude shoot?
so it started as like this was for my agency and they were putting together like a lingerie book of the curved girls to market. They were gonna mail it out, put it on their website, and then create like a separate website. And then like the photographer asked me and I was like, okay, like I was with it. It wasn't like a forceful thing.
Oh, he
you
wasn't
know?
creepy.
It wasn't creepy, no. And we originally were gonna submit the pictures to online magazines that like there's a couple like P magazine, Lucy's, Solstice magazine or some names, but you know, because that's just, it's more about, in those situations I feel like it's more about the photographer and like their skill and like, you know.
Yeah.
So
Like, they make it an okay environment.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I mean, surely I'm like, just like with the Me Too stuff and everything, there's actually an Instagram and it's called SHIT Model Management, and this person like has a whole list of photographers in the industry that are well known, where models have come out and said, you know,
They've been sexually harassed.
yeah, or whatever, you know. And just actually yesterday I was reading Bruce Weber. He's a famous photographer, and there were like a bunch of male models that came out and said, you know,
wow.
they've been harassed or whatever. So
Because there was like, I think that when the Instagram model stuff started popping off, a lot of like amateur photographers were also popping off at the same time.
Yeah.
And they were kind of like putting out like a warning to girls like,
I know from my own school, like in high school, like there was, I don't know if it was one or more, but definitely one person who particularly would like shoot a lot of like classmates naked, and that was like
Yeah.
his thing, and he was like saying it was like art and stuff, but I don't know, it came off, it didn't like, you know, when somebody
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
he's just like, yeah, like I do that, like
For art.
right.
yeah, and
Just
then-
because you have a camera, like, you know.
and they and I think he was taking quality pictures, so then the girls were like, yeah, like I feel like I should have that in my
right.
portfolio or whatever. And they're not like, they've never modeled or anything, but they're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, like this
but guys,
this
like,
is art.
they were also using that a way to like lure on to these girls,
Yeah.
be like
Right.
lure them in like these like really really like pretty girls or whatever, and
Yeah.
like they're wanting to start off in modeling
Yeah.
and building their portfolio,
That's-
so
yeah.
they lure them in with being like, oh, I'll do free pictures for you, and
Yeah,
so
that's
like
what it is.
Yeah.
Free pictures too, because you're saying like
That's
the
another.
cost can run up, and then
That's another thing like that reminded me of on that point is that like I was saying about models.com, and you go on there and see all the legitimate agencies. Like there's people like locally in Baltimore and Pennsylvania or whatever, and they claim to be agencies and they're really not, you know, and people get scammed into these things, and you should never have to pay an agency up front anything. Like nothing. That if you do, that's a scam. Like that's I don't know if you guys ever heard of like Barbizon or
It sounds like a scam.
There's one with 9. There's one in VA with 9.
9.
Like it's like 6 or whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
this sounds scary, because it's not just like, I'm not just applying for any job. This is like, you're a model, you're supposed to be like, you know, you're supposed to depict beauty and things like that, so they already know that they're getting a certain type of person,
Yeah.
and then it reminds me of Taken from there.
Oh, I never watched that.
Oh.
You know about it though, like well, it's
Someone
not
Taken.
about model, it's just like, you know,
These
who's
pretty
the
girls.
guy, Liam Neeson?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the dad of like this pretty girl, and she goes on a trip to Europe, right? And then she gets kidnapped, and they start like selling them
Yeah.
as
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like
so
sex
it's
trafficking?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, that sounds scary to me.
Yeah, and it's like also I just hate that people like sell a false dream to people, like you know, like it's like I played tennis in high school, but like if someone would tell me, Julie, you're going to Wimbledon, I would have been like, I don't think so, like and these people that like they'll be like, yeah, pay $2,000 and we'll teach you everything about modeling. And it's like, but who are you? Like, what are you, what does your resume look like? Like, you're just somebody that wants to make money off of people and there's no guarantee that you get signed or you work with any big client, or it's like it's just it's skeezy, like
yeah. On the subject of like when we were talking about doing nude shoots and stuff like that, I'm thinking about like the a girl who wants to be like a modest model.
Yeah.
Especially thinking of like our Muslim audience, for example, like the way that they see it and see themselves being represented. Are there things that you have to do, like, or can you get by without doing like lingerie and things like that? Like, how much modesty do you see in around you?
It depends what you want to do.
Okay.
Like you don't have to do any of that, and if you're not comfortable, like, then you don't have to do it. Like, no one's gonna force you.
Like for a while with was it the Miss America pageant that they all of them that they have the bikini
now they don't,
and now they don't. But like for a while that existed, so I don't know if like the standards are changing also in like for example, like you're saying like New York is the industry, right? So like how much of modest women are in that do you see?
I don't think much. Like I mean, and two, that's why too, this kind of goes with like differentiating myself from like Instagram model, because if I'm posting like I could have easily just been posting butt shots all the time and like, but do you think like Tom Ford or somebody's gonna want to book me then? Like, I mean, maybe, who knows, but no, like probably not, So there is a degree of like there in no way am I ever gonna do anything like porn or nothing like that, I mean, that's totally different like industry, but I'm not gonna if I keep doing, and that was a one thing, the nude thing, but like if I keep doing that, then that's how people are gonna only see me.
Okay.
And I don't want that. Like I say, I want to do high fashion, so I have to. That's why too it goes with like I can't just keep working with like local amateur people. Like if I want to upgrade, I have to also work with other people that want that too, like to create that person. But yeah, and it's more acceptable like in New York and stuff to have a little nude here and there. You might see somebody's nipple pop out, like pop out.
Yeah, I mean they have like the long coats on and then in the middle,
right?
You see
like I'm planning a shoot now, and well, kind of, it's in the works a little bit, but like I really want to do like suits, because I love like women's suits and like blazers and turtleneck. Like that's like my swag.
Like Lady Gaga just did that, right? She had that big Tom Ford.
Yeah. Look at him talking to Tom Ford.
That's the only thing I know. I just remember seeing that.
Yeah.
She was in like a men's suit, right? Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people. So like, if you're non-fashion or whatever, you'd look at that and be like, "What is that?" Like, But people that's what you're accustomed to seeing, like, could recognize, that was a fire suit, like the oversized, like, and but yeah, I want to do something like that with like without a shirt on, but I'm still covered in a blazer and whatever, and not the whole thing, like I'm saying, but that'll make for a couple shots, like
Right.
With your social media, you're pretty vocal about certain things. You're on Twitter, Instagram. You have your own like music playlist and all that kind of stuff. Where do you again like sort of draw the line of like how much you put out there? Could it affect the way that people see you, or do you have to kind of have a social presence now, do you think?
I think I'm trying to like figure it out still, like balance it, because sometimes I'll say some stuff, not bad things, but just
controversial, or
putting out my opinion, and then I have to remember, like, I'm supposed to be like a brand, like I'm branding myself, like, so but I think it is, you do though, people want to hear what you have to say, like I think this is great for me to do, people want to see you move. They don't just want to see 2D or Instagram just being all you standing there doing this fit pic and this fit pic, so like
I love how the accents come in.
That was my twang coming out for the night, but yes.
So do you think that like with the times that the industry is also going to change? Because it sounds, based off what you're saying, that it kind of stays pretty stagnant in the sense that they have like an image that they want. But I remember like growing up and watching America's Next Top Model and stuff, like being like a taller girl, like 5'8" and taller, you're automatically like, oh, why don't you do modeling? Or on paper, they're like hitting you up like, oh, that's a perfect height and stuff. Right. And every single time I would get these model calls, my parents were like, oh, hell no, like that's just that's not an option for you. And so a lot of that was because I remember even on America's Next Top Model, they would literally be like, oh no, like the next shoot is going to be a nude shoot and you have to be comfortable with it, and girls would be uncomfortable and they're still doing it, and like that kind of idea was built into my head that like, okay, if you're gonna be a model, it's not up to you what you choose. But now I feel like, you know, you can choose what you want to do and who you want to work with and all that type of stuff. Do you think that as society's changing that the model industry's changing, or do you think they're like kind of lagging and they need to catch up?
I think they've made some changes, but there still needs to be a lot more. Like now more than ever, there's diversity, but it's still not enough. You know, it's very small. And same with like size inclusion, and like I had a little note on there about like Victoria's Secret, and like recently, like every single year, the Victoria's Secret show gets fewer views. Like this was the lowest year.
I didn't even watch it this year, and I watch it every year.
Yeah. Why? Just because people are
they're
like
so specific to what they want,
and
it's just not appealing.
Like a specific image,
like
and
super specific,
and
super what?
Super specific. Like it has to be like really
specific.
Yeah, and then like all of the Victoria's Secret angels, they're on social media and they're like, yeah, 3 weeks we're training like an angel. That's like their thing, and they just work out all the time, blah, blah, blah. But they're already super skinny. And it's like, okay, and then it's
literally bones and skin. Though not to be rude to them, but it's like the image that they're trying to achieve is so unrealistic. And
don't they have to like throw up and stuff to like get those images?
I remember like a few years ago when I watched
like a rumor.
Every single
they definitely do not have to throw up, right?
I mean, to an extent, they kind of have to.
People probably do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of models like do drugs and stuff and smoke and don't eat, and that's how they stay so thin.
But like I remember I used to go on social media after I watched it every year and be like, I feel like, oh my god, like I hate my body. Yeah, and and I literally went back on like a time hop and. Like it was like 4 years in a row I felt like shit after watching the Victoria's Secret fashion show, but I loved watching it. And it was like so weird, but now I was like, wait, why am I forcing myself to watch something that I hate myself afterwards? Right.
And I feel like a lot of girls feel like that, you know, because I would see it on my timeline like, oh my god, I hate myself now, and it's like, you don't need to, like, so they're selling this angel idea, you know, and again another idea, and that was their recent thing, because the guy his name's Ed Razik or something like that, and he was like, I don't know if he just straight up was like, we're never having trans models, but like he said something that like was along the lines. Yeah, again, there's a really more I guess maybe one of the most well-known trans models. Her name's Lena Bloom, and she really wanted to be in the show and like had all this support online, and then like he said something like that, and I was like, all right. So,
and they also said that they don't want to go up in size inclusion because that's not who they are.
Right, that's not who they are. So like, I mean, it's like
but they sell them in the stores,
right? So, and then when you have like Rihanna's new lingerie Savage Fenty, and she includes pregnant women, she includes all kinds of women, short, bigger, smaller, and people are really rooting for that. And then some people get mad that people are trying to go against Victoria's Secret because they act like Victoria's Secret's the Mecca or what. I don't know, like, I don't know, like
the go-to place.
Yeah, and it's like, no, like, yeah, you gotta change with the times or you get left behind, like,
I like Victoria's Secret and Mecca.
I know, I was literally just processing that.
Let's talk about plus size models for a second. This is confusing, but like before this podcast, it was funny because you sent us a link to this article.
Yeah.
And I was scrolling through it, and then Brandon was like, hold up, like, this is plus size? He's like, literally, like,
these are normal
by these
girls.
standards.
No,
he's like,
right.
he goes, by these standards, like Amber could be a plus size model.
Right.
But then the reaction, Amber was like offended.
Yeah,
I started crying.
No.
But like,
But the thing is, I didn't see the picture, first of all. I should clarify that. I didn't see what they were looking at.
Yeah.
But it was the idea of Brandon calling me, oh, but like Amber could be a plus size model. And to me, I'm like, but like in my mind, I'm not in the model world. I'm considering myself, quote unquote, normal or like thicker or whatever you want to do. But like, I definitely wouldn't consider myself plus size.
Yeah.
And so to have that type of title attached to what they were defining me as.
But I'm concerned that you were like offended by it.
I wasn't offended because of the negative, like, it wasn't like, oh, it's negative to be a plus size model. It's to put me in that size range that I was offended by. Like, okay, there's nothing wrong with being a bigger model, but then you're saying that I'm bigger right now. And I to my standards, like, I didn't think that I would fit the idea of a plus size model. Right. Not that it's a bad thing to be a plus size model, because some of these plus size models are beautiful.
Yeah. And no, that's too why, like, I say, when I go to curve cast, because every casting, I'm not gonna ever go to this, being on a curve board, I'm not going to the castings that like someone like Kendall or whatever would go to. So when I go to a curve casting and people see me show up and they're like, what's this girl doing here, you know? It's like, yeah, I don't know either. Like, I've like really been at castings and they're like, I don't know why you came, because you're too small. Meanwhile, I just took the whole bus to get here, and the sub, and 3 trains, and I drove.
Go off.
You
Took
know?
a tractor.
And I mean, that's my own personal choice to still be here, and you know that no one cares about that. That's my responsibility. But like,
did you ever consider just like dropping down and going to the?
I can't though. Like,
really?
my hips are wide. Like, they may not, you know, always seem, but they're wide. Like, when you measure, they don't even measure your hips. They measure the widest part of your butt, okay? So when they measured the widest part of my butt, it's 42 inches, which sounds really big. Like, but, like, the most your hips can be on the straight size or whatever.
So it's, like, down to the numbers exactly?
Yeah. And that's, again, like, people, you know, all right, dang, sorry. Sometimes I have a lot to say and then I go off and, you know. Anyways, so what was my thought? Like,
don't kill your shot of like getting an opportunity here. If one of your casting people are like,
oh right,
what does she have to say? Oh
yeah. Yeah, but dang, I really lost
get it. But
the 42 inches, it's considered the biggest part of your body.
So
they don't like factor you into a smaller section. They just throw you to the higher section.
Yeah, right. And you know, like I say, the rest of me is pretty small and considered what could be the other.
So what I'm hearing is there's no market for the average body type.
Right.
There's no market for
right now,
an average woman.
Right. And
Okay.
in fashion, and that's why I say, like, that's why people are going on Instagram and doing their own thing, because they can't get. And I mean, maybe they all didn't try. I don't know, but
it's also
But it's
easier,
also just it's also a fact that, like, you know, like if you have a really big butt and a smaller waist, you're probably not going to get, like, you know, picked up by a supermodel, like in the supermodel industry.
But then too, that's why I said like the 90s supermodels and everything, they had a little more on them, which I feel like my shape could go more with that, and I don't know, but But that's why also I wanna still use my journalism skills, and you know, because then I'm more marketable, and who knows what could happen. Like, maybe then I go on another path, and I sometimes can do modeling, but it's not gonna be my primary thing. You know, I don't know. I go with the flow, but yeah.
We got to wrap this up soon, but like, what do you hope to get out of this whole thing, and like, where do you see this taking you?
So yeah, I mean, I want to. It's kind of for where I want to be at. Like, it kind of probably, if I do get to that level of being like a supermodel, then fame would probably come with that. Like, you know, it's just kind of something that would happen. I don't set out and be like, I want to be famous, but I want to be a well-known, like, I want to be known for like doing, you know, being
using modeling.
Yeah, like. Being a skilled model that, like, you know, was like that epitome of it, you know, but also just like I said, like, and I know it kind of is goofy, but like I do want to help people, and like
You're also,
and
you're also really into like music, and like, you know, you have this DJ Julie P playlist that you put out. You said you had aspirations of being a DJ.
Yeah, and still doing journalism, and like I see it all coming together, and like interviewing people and giving them a voice with, you know, like, I know I have white privilege and I want a platform and all this stuff. Like, I feel like that's a responsibility to do well in the world, do good things. Like,
well, you become an influencer with that, and then you have to, like, you are responsible for using your influence in a responsible way, I guess.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm sure other opportunities will come my way in other avenues. I've thought about acting, like. Mm-hmm. My first like aspiration was to have like a talk show,
awesome,
and be like a news anchor. Like, that's what I really wanted to be, like a Today Show, like morning anchor. But
do you feel like you need to box yourself into a model to like thrive in that first, or what?
Well, sometimes, yeah. I was talking about that the other day on Twitter. I was like, I get overwhelmed because I want to do all these things, but like I feel like if I spread myself too thin, then you know. So I got to kind of focus on this now, I feel like, and do some other things on the side, but.
That's a trend with a lot of us creatives nowadays, is like not knowing how far to spread ourselves, but also like it's weird because you're like waiting on the industry to like be like, hey, finally we'll give you a shot, but also you're like, should I be waiting for that, or should I like do this myself in the meanwhile? And it's a confusing.
It's hard. It's hard to figure out, and like, you know, sure, I spend a lot of time alone, obviously, riding the bus and going to castings and whatever, and like, like I have moments of like doubt and even fear, and those things, like, I've had breakdowns. I've, you know, been upset about not booking anything. I've, you know, been like, am I gonna keep doing this? Like,
I love that,
you know. And that's
I think
why
breakdowns are super important.
Yeah, they are. You know, and I'm not afraid
breakthroughs, like Kanye says.
Yeah, breakthrough, man. You know, what
is it?
Breakthroughs. Yeah. Instead of a breakdown. It's a breakthrough.
But do you break down first and then break through?
The breakdown is a breakthrough. It's like a realization. It's like a moment of realization.
True. Yeah. And I think it's important because, like, all of us, too, like, even though I'm not, I don't have a podcast and I'm not making music videos and, like...
But with your last name being POD, like, you could do something like that.
I know. But, like, we all can relate on, like, exactly what you said. Like, if you're trying to go on your own path, like, you know what it's like. Yeah. Like, you go through the ups and downs, and that's why it's important to, like, I think, stick around people like that, like-minded, entrepreneur-ish.
For the aspiring listeners who want to be a model in the future, what do they need to know before pursuing this or thinking about going into this?
That it's not easy. You know, it's not just like taking your picture, and I mean, like I said, it's not as glamorous as you think it is. It is fun. I have fun. I meet a lot of great people along the way, but it's like anything else. It takes discipline. You have to be patient because you never know which casting or who you're going to meet is going to be the one thing that you book, and then you meet somebody else and you book something else, and you know, and just like if you're really into it, like don't give up.
How do you know if you're like fit to be a model, I guess, or do you just have to like try it?
I'm sure people will tell you, like...
But also, I mean...
But let's say you're, like, not attractive.
Yeah,
and, like...
you don't have to be attractive to be a model.
Okay.
Like, you can have the skills, I think.
Skills in, like, poses? Or...
Posing, like, the mentality, like, the drive.
And do you have to find your niche for, like, your fit, I guess?
Yeah, I think so. You know, some people are lucky and can do everything. You know, those supermodels. But, like... Some people, will only do runway. There's so many models that are runway models, and like, no one would ever know who they are. But they maybe did 19 shows at Fashion Week, and they were just, you know, that's their thing. And then, but they're not going to be in the Vogue spread or whatever. So yeah, you got to figure it out. You'll figure it out in time too. You know.
Okay, so like specifically with like the 2017, 2018 like era, filler is like really, really big, like just
in your face.
No, like just filler in your face.
Okay, I mean, and lips and butts and
I mean like cheek and all that type of stuff, under eye, whatever. One, like, what is the supermodel industry's like point on that? And 2, do you ever feel pressure to be like, okay, well, I could fix this a little bit, and be like, whatever, if I got filler?
I don't ever think about that stuff. Like, I just want to be me. Like, I'm more happy and confident now than I've ever been. And that's like, cause I had a lot of social anxiety, through college especially. And like that made me question things a lot. But once I got past that, like,
why did you think you had social anxiety?
I don't know. I really don't know. And it made me upset, and it made me depressed because I wasn't like that before. Like, I've always been like outspoken, and like I wanted, like I say, I wanted to do the news, and I'd be doing the morning announcements. I'd do all these things. I'd raise my hand, and then all of a sudden, like something like weird happened. I don't know. And then like I don't know if you know this either, but like I like failed school, like at community college that's why I went to Harvard, even because I lived in Baltimore County, but I like failed school because I felt like I physically couldn't go and I couldn't do the work, and like it was really like it was hard, like and but yeah, that was too, like that was when I was I had the thought of doing modeling in my head, but I knew I couldn't do it then because I wasn't ready to do it.
So with the fillers,
do you feel like what's your perspective on it / industry perspective on it? Because like that's so common and almost like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think people should do whatever they want and do what makes you happy and stuff. I do feel like it's kind of a cheat if you're altering the way you look and then you're like booking everything. I don't know, but then at the same time, then you were meant to book it with your fillers. I don't know.
Yeah,
you know,
because it's the same idea of like people who work out who get fat transfers and then they're fitness models.
Oh yeah,
and then they're like, oh, but you didn't even do that, whatever. And then
Kylie got lip fillers, and then she's selling like,
right,
the most
exactly.
lip kits in
And
the
then
world,
now
right?
they're saying that in the beauty industry, like, okay, well, if you're gonna be a beauty blogger and you have all the fillers, it's that same idea.
Right.
But then it doesn't.
There's
that
gotta be
doesn't
more
compare.
behind it though, like, right? Like you can't just get this done, then you're like, okay, well now I have a shot. I mean, maybe you have more of a shot, but like still, I think a lot of it, like you're saying, the techniques that you use, the way that you, maybe just being a certain type of person, having a social presence. I don't know. Like I feel like all that matters too.
It does matter. I just wanted to hear a model's perspective on fillers.
Because there's like there's this page on Instagram I follow. It's called Celeb Face, and it shows you literally all the supermodels and, you know, a lot of celebrities that alter their pics, you know, and then they'll also post like before pictures of whoever before they got all that stuff done. And people, I mean, then, you know, the person was probably insecure before, and that's why they got it done, whatever they did. And then once you do fix something, then people are in the comments trashing you for fixing it, or, you know, it's like, what you just
can't really win.
Yeah, like you can't please people, so that's why I say like if someone wants to do it, fine, whatever. But like, I mean, I don't know. You don't have to. You don't owe anyone anything. But like, if someone's gonna ask you, like, don't lie about it. Like, don't lie and say I did not have any lip fillers done.
You think you should be honest about it if you get fillers in the model industry?
Yeah, if you're approached by it, like, don't lie. But then again, you don't have to tell anyone. I don't know. You know, it's weird.
Be you.
Be you, man.
Go after your dreams. Do you. Just don't do Pepsi commercials that are going to get you in trouble.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Well, Julie, we wish you the best of luck with everything.
Thank you.
And, you know, hope your future is bright, and
Thank
hope to
you.
see you in Vogue or wherever you want to be.
Yeah.
Tom Ford sounds
we have
like.
one last question that we have to ask in this podcast, and Shimmer, take it away.
If you could describe yourself in any flavor, what would it be and why?
I think I would say bubblegum.
Why is that?
New flavor alert!
Because
Brandon, let me get a pow, pow, pow.
bubbly. Oh.
Okay. Because you're
Bubbly.
bubbly.
But with my twang, you know.
With the twang.
I like
So you're
that.
you're like a cinnamon 5 gum.
No,
Oh,
man.
sorry.
Oh,
I
what
took
the
it too far.
Nah, I am like cinnamon. Maybe like
I was trying to include the twang in
what
there.
was that yellow gum? I used to love that.
Juicy fruit?
Yeah.
But that just like has no taste after a little bit. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
Wow.
Dang.
I did not mean to say that out loud.
I
just
can't
took a shot.
relate.
At your
She just took a shot at your whole person.
That's not at all what I was trying to say. I was trying to say you're not that.
Okay, how about hubba bubba?
Okay, I like that. No,
Just because
that
the way you
matches
said
you.
it.
That matches you.
Hubba bubba Max.
That's Max.
A whole new kind of bubble.
You heard it here. Bubbly
like that.
bubblegum. Julie Podczaski.
Podczaski.
Podczaski. No.
Podczaski.
Podzaki.
Look out for her. What's your social media handle?
My name, Julie Podczaski.
Okay, you're never gonna be able to spell that, so go in the description. Give her a follow. Listen to her sick music playlist.
Yeah.
And look for her upcoming whatever she does besides for modeling. Hopefully, maybe a YouTube channel
Maybe a YouTube.
or a little.
Maybe an actual
here and there.
DJ skill.
Yeah.
All right. It's been another week.
Another flavor.
A little less stranger.
We'll see you next time. Peace.